I'm going to read a few verses in your hearing real quick. John chapter 9, verses 1 through 7, and then we'll have a quick conversation, and then we'll go on and get out of here. John chapter 9, verses 1 through 7. I'll read from the New American Standard Version of the Bible. It reads, "As he passed by, he saw a man blind from birth. And his disciples asked him, 'Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he would be born blind?' Jesus answered, 'It was neither that this man sinned nor his parents, but it was so that the works of God might be displayed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me as long as it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world.' When he had said this, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle and applied the clay to his eyes and said to him, 'Go wash in the pool of Siloam,' which is translated sent. So he went away and washed and came back seeing." For the sake of emphasis, I'm going to read verse 3 again. It says, Jesus answered, "It is neither that this man sinned nor his parents, but it was so that the works of God might be displayed in him." So I want to lay down this foundation, and I'm sure that is common knowledge, but I just want to say it anyway, just in case somebody here does not know this. But the church of God is here that we may do the works of God. God has called us out of darkness into his marvelous light so that we can do the works of God. The church is not here to be another social club. The church is not here to be a community service center. The church is not here to be a library or some high society of education, but the church is here so that the works of God might be done. And the problem is when you understand that the church is here so that the works of God can be done, as a church, we should be disappointed if we don't see God's work being done. Amen. And I think the problem is because it's been so long since Christ has ascended back into heaven, and because we've been waiting for so long for his return, many churches have gotten very comfortable without seeing his work done. Because he delayed and tarried for a little while, we got real comfortable just having good services. In fact, for many church members, church is nothing more than a weekly service, or maybe even twice a week. Church is an event that we go to. But the reality is the church is not an event. The church is not a service. The church is not this building, but rather we are the church of God. Everyone who is a born-again believer, everyone who considers Jesus Christ to be their Lord and Savior, we are the church of God. And God has established us, God has saved us, God has snatched us out of the devil's kingdom so his work can be done. So what we're reading here in this text is we are reading a man who was born blind. And I don't know if you can relate to this level of frustration because this man was born blind. And I don't think I have to say this, but I'll say it anyway. Being blind is not a favorable position. Amen. I am a father of 4. Hallelujah. And I would be very, very distraught. I would be very heartbroken if any one of my children was born blind. I would feel some type of way if one of my children was born blind. And it's a natural question to ask, well, what happened? Why is he born blind? Because everybody understands that it's not a favorable position to be blind. So it's a logical question to go to Jesus and say, what happened? And what I notice here with the disciples, they have a mentality that many of us have, in that this unfavorable position must be a result of sin. Yeah. See, for a lot of us, I just have to go there. For a lot of us, there are some things that are in our life that's not very favorable. There are some things in our life that's not very pleasant. There are some things in our life that we don't like. There are some things in our life that we would love to get rid of. If God gave us a choice, we would surrender it. If God gave us a choice, we would never have been born with it. If God gave us a choice, we would never attach ourselves to this thing. There are some things in our life that are just so gruesome and so horrible, and in our mind, we're trying to figure out what sin we committed to have this thing attached to us. And God is saying everything that is attached to you doesn't come from sin. Every trial, every tribulation, every unfavorable position does not come from sin. And I'm going to tell you something. It's good that you examine your life to see if there's some sin that you could quit or stop doing to end this travesty. It's a good idea to examine your life because there are some things in your life that came from sin. Yes. There are some positions that you're in because you made some bad choices. Right. There are some things that are attached to you because you made a bad decision. There are some things that you took on because you hung around the wrong people. There are some things that you have to deal with because you went to the wrong place. So yes, there are some things in your life that is a product of sin. But at some point when you examine your life and you realize there is nothing that you could have done to have this thing on you, something should click in your mind and say, well, maybe sin is not the reason. You know, I'm really tired, my God. I'm trying to be careful. I'm trying to take my time. I'm really tired of church folk who don't have an answer for something, blaming sin for it.
Wow. Come on now. Wow.
When a marriage fails, it must have been sin. When you don't graduate from school, it must have been sin. When a mother is suffering from a miscarriage, it must have been sin. It seems like sin always seems to be our default answer when we don't have an answer for why this is happening. We are a lot like Job's friends in that every time somebody is going through a hardship, the first thing we say is, well, you should probably ask for forgiveness. Maybe you shouldn't have been with this person. Maybe you should have never went to that place. Maybe you should have joined that church. We always blame sin. And here comes Jesus saying, this blind man, this blindness that this man had doesn't come from sin. How many of us can really settle in our spirit that there's some things attached to us, as bad as it may be, didn't come from the devil? How many of us can really have some peace in our spirit and knowing maybe my poverty isn't sin-struck? How many of us can really settle that maybe my depression is not satanic? So Jesus says it's not sin. It's not sin. This man didn't sin, nor did his parents sin. You know, it's funny because it's interesting that we could even conceive in our minds that the one who's suffering, the one who was born suffering, could have any hand in his own suffering. How can he have sinned before he was even born? And you know, it's funny. I'm about to break some doctrines that we have, right? It's funny because we have this idea that says we were born in sin, shaped in iniquity, means then that from birth I am a sinner. No. Let me change that. Let me change that. You are born in sin. Somebody got to get this. You were born in sin. That means when you were birthed, you entered into a world of sin and you were shaped in this world of iniquity, but you were not born to be a sinner. That's right. God did not create you. God did not give you breath just to pronounce you guilty. God does not give birth to people that he's ready to destroy. And this idea that says that I'm guilty from birth is the reason why so many people run from the God that we preach about. Because how can you say this God loves me if he's birthing me to be guilty? Like I said, I got 4 kids. I'm gonna share something. I'm trying to move on, but it's still in my spirit. I got 4 kids. And for anyone who's not a parent, you may not get this. But see, I'm a parent, right? And because I'm a parent, I can see how early you can start your sinful character.
All right, amen.
Because I look at my children, when they're 1 and 2, you can't really, or when they're 1 month, 2 months, right? When they start getting about 6 months old, you start to see some stuff in them. They start to do some things. I will watch my daughter. I love her to death. She's 2 now. And I love her to death. But she knows, well, I love her to life, I should say. She knows when she does something wrong, because when she engages in something that she's not supposed to engage in, when she sees me, she gives me this face, she stops what she's doing, and she tries to give me a hug and kind of woo me. Because I caught her doing something she's not doing. So before I even say you're not supposed to do that, something in her told her she wasn't supposed to be doing that, but yet something in her also told her to do it anyway. So if she was innocent before, she's guilty now. Because she went against her very own conscience. And sinned against her own standards. So they're looking at this man, they said, who sinned? Was it him or was it his parents? And it's funny because there are things that are passed down to us from our parents. Can I just teach just a little bit and then we're going to go back to this text? Because there's some stuff that you're struggling with that you didn't actually attach. It was passed down. It was genetics. It was DNA, or it was spiritual, whichever language fits your fancy, right? But at the end of the day, you got it from your parents. So your parents were an alcoholic, so now you're an alcoholic. You would not have been an alcoholic maybe had your parents not been an alcoholic, but the thing was, your parents were alcoholics, so you inherited the spirit of alcoholism, but it would have never been activated had you not take that sip.
Yeah. Amen.
Your parents have given you a spirit of lust that you would have never known about had you not turned that channel. My first time. Because I like to talk about myself so y'all can know me.
Amen.
And y'all don't, because I don't want to judge anybody. I get real sensitive right when I start talking about you and I don't know you. So I'll talk about me. I'm trying to see the age in this room. Okay, right? So my first time encountering a Playboy magazine was 5 years old. I was 5. And what's crazy is it happened, my mom, I don't even know if she knows till this day. I have no idea, to be honest with you, but I used to go over a friend's house and we used to play outside, and outside in the bushes he had a stash of Playboy magazines. We used to always go outside into the bushes and we used to look at the Playboy magazines. Now I'm 5 years old, but even from that age I knew I was attracted to women. But it was that exposure that unlocked the spirit of lust in me that was in my father and in my grandfather. But at 5 years old, there's no way that I could have even known about that. And there were things that I was struggling with as I grew older, trying to figure out, I've always felt like this, I've always been like this, but the truth is, I was always like this because it was something that was inherited from my parents, from my father and my great-grandfather, because the Bible said that it can be passed on 3 to 4 generations, and nobody wants to talk about in the church how there's certain things you're developing inside of you, and if you're not careful, you'll pass those things on to your children. And there are some people who I'm telling the truth because you're looking at your child and you never taught them how to lie, yet lies come out of their mouth because in reality you were a liar. You're looking at your child and everything you could have ever done wrong is like it was birthed into this loving, beautiful baby, but they've inherited every disease you could have had spiritually. So the question of who sinned is a valid question because there's so many people right now, they're struggling with insecurity, not because they're insecure, but their parents were insecure and they covered it up well with the makeup and the cars and the job, and nobody knew that they were struggling with identity issues, but now they see their child not knowing how to find themselves and the parents are trying to beat it out of them. The parents are trying to pray it out of them. Instead of telling them, I struggled with that too. And what I've learned is parents can never, this is about to be deep, parents can never confess their sins to their child because they still haven't gotten victory over them. They can't tell their child, I used to, because they still are. I capture that. They can say, I used to, there are some, oh my God, there are some married folks who've never cheated and still struggle with lust issues. Amen. They still haven't gotten the victory over lust. They just learned how to cover it up enough so that no one else would know that they struggle with that issue. So then when they see their child going through it, they don't even have answers for them except don't do it in public, stop doing that outside, stop doing that at your friend's house. They don't say keep it secret, but that's the only solution they have. Woo! So this man is born blind. They're trying to figure out, well, which one of his parents sinned? What judgment is this? And Jesus says, no. He wasn't born blind because of sin. He was born blind that the works of God might be done through him, might be displayed, might be manifest, might be revealed in him. See, there are some things, this may not sound good to some of you, but there are some things that are attached to you just so that the world can see how God works. There are some things that God entrusted you with just so that you can be an example of how awesome and how good he is. You know, some of us, God has chosen to be his poster board. Some of us, God has chosen to be his advertisement. God is saying, I have chosen you to bear this so I can remove this so the world can see how awesome I am. And we look at that and we say, God, I have to go through pain just so people can see how good you are. He said, no, you're going to go through relief and pleasure.
Come on now.
Have you ever, who's gone camping? Everybody gone camping? We have Adventist church. I'm going camping, right? Adventist go camp, right?
Yes.
I don't know. This South Central Conference, right?
Yes.
I'm a graduate of Oakwood. If you call that camping, that ain't camping. That ain't camping. I'm old school.
Right.
We used to go out to the woods with those big backpacks.
That's right.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know.
We had to carry it.
Yes.
And I remember having to carry all of this weight as a young child, complaining about how heavy it is. And going out, we had to walk uphill. There wasn't no paved road. You know, the time that I used to go camping, people had to stay up just to make sure bears and snakes wouldn't come on the campsite.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Are we too far from that? See, look, we're moving that. Y'all not ready. Y'all not ready. I'm telling you, we used to someone had to stay up and awake to watch for the threats. Anyway, you remember carrying these heavy bags. I remember feeling the weight of these heavy bags on my back, and I used to complain as a child, this bag is so heavy. But can I tell you something? There was no greater feeling than when that weight came off my back. I'm going to say it again because I'm reading this again. When I was carrying the weight, I used to complain. The truth was I was able to carry the weight.
Right.
Because if I'm able to complain about it, that means I'm able to bear it.
Right.
See, because if it was too heavy, it would have taken me out. I wouldn't be able to talk about it.
That's right.
But the fact that I could open up my mouth about it means I'm able to bear it.
Right.
So I'm complaining about the weight that I got on my back. But when I got to the destination and I was able to take that weight off, there was no greater feeling than relief.
Right.
There is no, see, some of you don't know what it feels like to have relief because you still have that weight on you.
Yeah.
And God is saying this weight that's on you is not because of sin, it's because I want you to experience a relief and a rest that can only come from me. So what he does with this blind man, first off, the man was blind. I want to move forward. I got to take my time. The man was blind. You know what's interesting is that he was born blind. What this means is that he would never, in his blindness, be able to see where he's going or what's coming to him. Okay, I need to explain this. It wasn't that his eyes were closed. It was that his eyes did not work. So it didn't matter how much you would tell him, look out, watch out, pay attention, don't hit that, don't go there. He could not see because his eyes did not work. So no one can charge or no one can charge the blind man of being irresponsible, of being clumsy, of being stupid, of being immature when he bumps into things and when he asks for help. Because it's not that he's walking around with his eyes closed, it's that when his eyes are open, he still sees nothing. So why am I saying that? Why am I saying that? Because this man was blind physically, but so many people are blind spiritually, and we think that if we just give them enough knowledge, we think that if we give them enough information, we think that if we just give them all this stuff, then all of a sudden they're going to open up their eyes and see. But even if they open up their eyes, if they're blind, they still won't see nothing.
That's right.
And we're getting mad at blind people for doing blind people stuff.
Whoa.
person gets lost, you don't get mad at them. No. I don't know where I am. This doesn't feel familiar. Well, we'll go that way. And they're like, sir, I'm blind. The first thing they say is, oh, I'm sorry. And you start guiding them in the way. Yeah. See, our problem is, it's easy to accept that they don't want it.
Right.
Because as long as people don't want it, you have no responsibility.
Come on.
That's right.
But once you realize they want it, but they need help,
Yeah.
the truth of your character comes out.
Yeah. All right.
Because if my brother here, if he needs help, and I refuse to help him, I didn't say something about him.
They said something about me.
It said something about me.
Yes.
So I'd rather say, oh, they don't want it. I'd rather say, oh, they're making their own choices.
Yeah.
I'd rather push it off on them because then I don't have anything to do with it. There's nothing I have to do about it because it's not my problem. They're walking around with their eyes closed. If they really wanted the truth, they would accept the truth. The reality is some of them can't see the truth because they're blind. And what is the church supposed to do about blind folks? Well, we're supposed to manifest the works of God.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, see. Because if you're not willing to walk with the blind man, you are no help to that blind man.
Amen.
So what Jesus does, Jesus says this man is blind, but what Jesus does, he recognizes that he cannot see. I know it sounds redundant, but it's going to connect eventually. Someone's going to get it. He realizes that this man cannot see, and he also recognizes that this blindness that he has doesn't come from sin. And the reason why you have to separate the two, because if this blindness came from sin, then all Jesus had to do was forgive his sin and tell him the right way to live, and his blindness would vanish. See, because his blindness didn't come from sin, he needed God to do something. Oh, Jesus. He needed God to do something outside of forgiveness. He didn't need to be forgiven from nothing. According to Jesus' declaration, there was nothing that had to be forgiven. And you know, sometimes when we pray, we say, God, forgive me for my sins, and we don't even know what sins we're asking for forgiveness from. We are so conditioned to believe that everything I'm going through must be from sin that we're going to ask for forgiveness. And hopefully, you know, from my random asking of forgiveness, God would forgive it and all of my problems would go away. Have you ever gotten an apology from someone who didn't know why they were apologizing?
Yes. Yes.
No, when my son does something, my son, he's 8 years old, and y'all need to pray for him, please. Pray with every ounce of spirit you have. Pray for him. Love him to death. He needs Jesus. My God. And every time he gets in trouble, we have a conversation. And then I say, do you understand? He says, yes, sir. I said, what did I say? See, when my son was a child, we taught him manners. So he figured, yes, sir, was the right response.
Right.
But he didn't understand that I'm not looking for a response. I'm looking for a legit answer.
Yes.
Because if you don't understand, then we need to have more of a conversation.
Right.
Okay. So a lot of us, we go to God in the way that we pray, thinking that I need to say certain things.
Yeah.
And in our immaturity, God teaches us a structure. I don't even know who this is for. It's not even like, I don't know why I'm going here. But somebody needs to hear this.
Yeah.
In our going to God, we come with the formula and the structure, but we never speak from the Spirit where He asks us to speak from. So we're saying the right words that will get us the amens in church. But what I've learned is those words aren't the right words when you're at home and you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. It's like everything is falling apart and you try to use all these churched up prayers and it gets you nowhere. And God is saying, I don't need the formula. I need you. I don't need the structure. I need you to pray from your spirit and really tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Who is that for? And you're trying to figure out why. Why? It's like your prayer life is dead, and that's because you're blind to the ineffectiveness of these structures. So what Jesus does is he goes to the blind man. He recognizes that he doesn't need forgiveness. It's not a thing of sin. but rather this is an issue of glory. He said this man does not need to be forgiven. He needs an opportunity for God to move in his life. So what Jesus does, which I think is very interesting, is he goes back to what Jesus knows, and that's creation. And he does what he did in the beginning of time, which is knelt down to the ground, gathers some clay, and he puts it on a man's eyes as if to say, I am giving you new eyes. See, some of y'all missed that. Because Jesus is the creator of all things. And when he created us, according to the scriptures, he knelt down, gathered the dust of the earth, and created man. And what we see here is that Jesus said, this man needs some new eyes because people need to see that God still creates new things. So he said it's not a matter of sin that brought this, but somebody forgot that God still creates. You know, we talk about God being a creator God, and we really limit creation to what happened 6, 7, 8,000, however long ago you say it was. We think that God really created all this stuff and then just left it to be. There are some who think that, but that's not how God works. Even now, God is still creating and fashioning and molding things. And there are some things in your life where you don't need forgiveness, you need recreation. You need something new to happen. You need something that doesn't even exist yet to be formed and manifest. So Jesus gives this man new eyes, and watch this. He tells him, go and wash your eyes out. Now come on, guys. Use your brain. This blind man can't go and wash his eyes out without some type of assistance to get to where Jesus was bringing him. And that's when the church comes into play.
All right now. All right. Thank you, Jesus.
Jesus is doing some things in some of your lives.
Amen.
Okay, let me say it this way. Jesus didn't charge the disciples to give this man sight.
That's right. Amen.
Rather, he told them, take him where I told him to go.
All right.
See, y'all missed that.
We got you. Come on. Amen.
So Jesus says, here's the clay. All right, I want y'all to bring him to that pool. Because he can't get there on his own. But I'm doing something new in his life. And if you could just be my disciple and carry this man, bring this man to where I'm taking him. If you could just do that, if you could just bring him where the work is being done, if you could just do that, see, you don't get no glory for that because you ain't do nothing but brought him to the water. But that's all God needs from us. God, he's not calling us to do more than carry the people to where Jesus is moving. He's not calling. See, and the problem is, oh, all right, I'll say it because the Lord told me to. I almost bit my tongue. But the problem is we invite people to church like he's moving here.
Have mercy.
And some of us have been here for so long that we're still the same.
Wow.
And we bring some people out there and bring them here, and we're mad when they're still the same.
Ooh. All right.
And we want to judge them, but there was no movement here before they got here.
All right. Mercy.
So I would suggest instead of bringing them here, you should probably find where Jesus is. My God. Introduce them to Jesus and watch him change his life. So watch this. Okay, I'm about to wrap up. I've been preaching longer than I anticipated. So
That's all right.
he says he gets there and he washes his eyes. Now I'm gonna jump down because a lot happened. Man, I thought I had more time, but I don't. A lot happened after he was healed. When he was healed, first thing, he didn't know Jesus healed him. I gotta go there. He didn't know Jesus healed him because Jesus wasn't at the pool. Now I missed that. See, he was blind, so he didn't see Jesus.
Amen.
He heard him, didn't see him. Someone catch that?
Mm-hmm.
He heard him, didn't see him. So he heard the voice that told him to go, but didn't see the face that told him to go. So when he got there and he received his healing, he knew Jesus healed him, but he didn't know how Jesus looked. See, I'm still not catching it. Because sometimes, thank you, brother. Because sometimes Jesus will do something and we don't know that it's actually him doing it. Because of the condition of our blindness, we could not see Jesus when he did it.
All right.
So when Jesus got him healed, the religious folks, and I know we use that a lot, but I need y'all to understand this. The religious folks, I think, did we talk about Pharisees last time I was here? I don't remember. Did we talk about Pharisees last time I was here? I'll just explain it again. Because all of you weren't here last time. The Pharisees were religious in that they did everything that looked good in the eyes of man. So they memorized the first 5 books of the Bible. That was a requirement to be a Pharisee. And they observed all the feasts and the festivals. And they had dress reform where you could look at them and tell they were a Pharisee. Does this sound familiar? They ate a certain way so you would know that they were a Pharisee. And they were on the synagogue on a certain day so that you would know that they were the Pharisees. And the problem was when Jesus came into the scene, the Pharisees felt threatened because Jesus did things different from them. See, they established a standard of righteousness that they judged everybody else with, but that standard that they established, as good as it may have looked in the eyes of man, did not come from God. And you know, I think sometimes Jesus, I want to sit down, Lord, but he keeps just talking to me. I think sometimes we think because it looks good, it has to come from God. But when God showed up, it was evident that what they set up, Jesus, didn't come from God. Because if it came from God, they would have gladly accepted Jesus. So now when Jesus does this work, they're looking to condemn Jesus because Jesus is a threat to their establishment. What am I saying? I'm learning that Jesus will heal folks. Jesus will provide for folks. Jesus will move for folks. And these people that Jesus is healing and providing for, they don't know that it's Jesus. And when the church folk get involved, they're so busy trying to tell that person that was the devil instead of explaining to this person, oh, that must have been my God. The way you're talking, that must be my God. Oh, you were sick and you got better? Oh, that's what my Jesus does. Or you was blind and you could see? That's my Jesus. You was broke and he provided? That's my Jesus. But instead we say, oh no, that can't be Jesus because it didn't happen in my church.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Why do we, you know, I'm breaking all the sermonic rules right now. Why do we try so hard to convince people who aren't like us that the devil has such a strong grip in their life?
Wow. All right.
Why do we try so hard to convince that person who's providing for their family that that provision is coming from Satan?
Wow.
Why do we try so hard to convince that person who's healed that that healing came from Satan? Why is it that the only prerequisite we have in giving Jesus the glory is if it happens in our church, by our standards? So this man gets healed, doesn't know what Jesus looks like. They're saying, oh, he's a demon. And he's like, look, I don't know if he's a demon. All I know.
All I know. That's right. That's right. That's right. I don't know. That's right.
But I don't know all the ins and outs. I can't give you all the theological words of what I do know.
I do know.
And that this is where I was, and this is where I am.
Yes. Yes.
And I know it was by some man named Jesus. All right.
I do know that.
So he causes a lot of controversy. And only the religious folks, you know, there was so much controversy that when they try to get his parents involved, his parents were like, I'm good. I know what that means, right?
Yes.
And one of the reasons why his parents were like, I'm good, was because they were more concerned about being members of the church instead of professing the truth about Jesus.
All right.
You know, there's some of us, oh, Jesus! There are some of us that God has given us a word of correction. And instead of speaking that word of correction, we keep it to ourselves because we have some level of status in the church.
Oh, my.
You don't want to be ostracized and kicked out. So we keep it to ourselves because it's more important for some of us, not all of us, but for some of us, it's more important to be a member of this church than to do what the Lord is telling us to do. So Jesus says, so after it's all done, let's jump down to verse 35. Same book, verse 35. It says Jesus heard that they had put him out. Of course they put him out. Of course they put him out. Jesus heard that they had put him out. And finding him, see, I could preach just all day on that. And finding him, he said, do you believe in the Son of Man? He answered, the used to be blind man, hallelujah, answered, who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him? So I want you to understand. Jesus shows up to this man. He realized that he was kicked out of his community. You know, I'm so glad that my relationship with Jesus is not contingent on my relationship with the community.
Amen.
I'm so glad that I can get kicked out of the community and Jesus will go and find me where I am.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
So Jesus now, the one who heals him, goes and he finds him. So now he's looking at the man face to face. But remember, he was blind. He doesn't know the face of Jesus.
Yes, that's right.
And for whatever reason, he must have not recognized the voice of Jesus. Because he said, who is he? That I may believe. So Jesus says, you have both, watch this, seen him. You know how refreshing for a blind man to hear they seen something? Oh, y'all didn't catch that. You know how refreshing it is for a blind man to hear that they seen something? Got something with asthma? Anybody suffer with asthma? No, by myself? Okay. So you'll get this, right? What's up with asthma? Asthma it's like let's say you're breathing through you're breathing through a tube that's the size of a paper towel holder, right? When you get an asthma attack, it feels like you're breathing through a straw. You can feel that restraint. And there's nothing that you can do except pray. And by God's grace, if prayer ain't working for it, you get some asthma medicine, right? And what happens is when you take the asthma medicine, you can feel everything open up. And that first breath is like the best breath you've ever taken in your life. So you can imagine what it was for this blind man to hear, I actually saw something. I've been blind my whole life. I was born blind. I can see. He's now seeing, but he doesn't know what he's looking at because he was born blind. So now Jesus is identifying, and look what he said. He said, you have both seen him, and watch this, and he is the one who is talking with you. Look at the man's response. And he said, Lord, I believe, and he worshiped him. Now, why? Let me highlight that too. Why did Jesus have to go back to the man? Why did Jesus have to go back to the man? Because if all the man needed was some miracle to help him see, Jesus already accomplished that. So why go and find the man? That seems to be a waste of time. That seems to be overkill. It looks like you're going out of your way, Lord, because you've already given him everything he needs. He can see now he's good. He can go and live a prosperous life. He can do all the things he couldn't do. Why go back and look for him? Because the truth of God, the truth of the Lord is that miracles is not the work of God.
Come on. Come on now.
Taking care of somebody's physical needs is not the work of God.
Amen.
Let me give you some Bible, because I know y'all looking at me like I'm crazy.
Amen.
Oh, if you on the screen, real quick, John chapter 6. I want us to read verse 28 and 29. John chapter 6, verses 28 and 29. We're going to read it from the screen, if you can put it up there. John chapter 6, verses 28, starting at verse 28, and then 29. It's 28 first. Yeah. 28 at any moment. Perfect. All right, let's all read it together. Ready? Then they said to him, what shall we do that we may work the works of God? Y'all see that question? Then go to verse 29. Jesus answered and said to him, this is the work of God, that you believe in him who he sent. You can start playing. So I got to be honest with you. Look, keep that up there. Keep that up there. This is the work of God. That who believes?
Me.
See, because the problem is that so many of us are trying to get others to believe. The work of God is that.
I believe.
So what good is it? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes will not perish, spend so much time trying to get others to believe. We're looking for some type of spiritual validation. No, some people get a high in watching other people give their life to the Lord, because somehow watching them get baptized validates the truth that you're in. It's like when you see other people believing, you're like, okay, yeah, this must be true. This must be true. Look at them believing. This must be true. But the word of God is that you believe. And you gotta ask yourself, do you really believe? Because some of you, you're walking around like you're blind. And the reality is your eyes are just closed. You're walking around. Now some of you, you're blind. Because there's a mixed crowd, right? No congregation is just, what's the word? Monolithic, right? It's a mixed crowd. Some of you, you're blind and you're frustrated that you can't see. You don't have to be frustrated that you can't see. People talk about stuff, you're like, I don't get it, I don't see it, and you think you're dumb, you think you're slow, you're not dumb, you're not slow, you're blind, and that's not condemnation. That's merely a description of where you are, you're blind. The good news is, Jesus can help you see. And the problem is the church has been so busy giving you everything else but Jesus. But they can't give you what they don't have. Because many of them, while they're teaching you, oh yeah, thus says the Lord, they're at home like, I don't know what to do, Lord. Like they're just as lost as you, but they'll never say it because they're teachers. They'll never say it because they're teachers. So they're hoping that maybe they can see the truth in the scriptures through you. I gotta catch this.
Wow.
They're putting all the pressure
On you.
for God's word to be true in you. Say, well, Lord, I've been battling with this sickness. I haven't been healed. Maybe if you heal someone else. God, my marriage is all messed up. You know, I'm not happy in my marriage. Maybe if you fix somebody else's marriage. See, because what we do as humans, especially as people who don't believe, when we see other people getting what we don't have, it's easy to rationalize in our mind, well, maybe I don't have it because it's not for me. And God is saying you don't have it because you never came to me. You're so busy doing all of this other stuff. You take pride in how much you give. You take pride in your prayer life. You take pride in your diet. You take pride in your dress reform. You take pride in all of these things. And you think, oh, you got it figured out because you used to be a smoker and you gave up smoking. Or you used to be an alcoholic and you gave up drinking. You used to be a fornicator and now you're giving up sex. And you think somehow with all these things, you're going to find everything that you need. And it's crazy to give up something and never get Jesus.
Wow.
What good is that? For that blind man to receive his sight, but to never receive Jesus would have been a waste of time. Hallelujah. And somebody needs to know that there's nothing greater to receive. There's no one greater to receive but Jesus. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Everybody on your feet. Everybody on your feet. Because I'm not here to judge. And I hit some stuff that may make some of you feel bad. But I'm not looking to make you feel bad. I want to extend an opportunity. Right? I want to extend an opportunity because anytime someone exposes the problem but never gives a solution, they're a bad teacher. What good is it to tell me everything that's wrong when you can't tell me how to make it right? What good is that? So I have to give several appeals because it's a mixed group. And my first appeal is for the one who's never accepted Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. You've never been baptized in His name. You've never been dipped in that water. You never confessed Him. You may have grown up in the church, you may have grew up in the church, so you know of Him. You've been around Jesus, but you don't know Him for yourself. And some of you, because I gotta break this, some of you think that you have to reach a certain place with Him before you can commit your life to Him. When actually, you have to commit your life to Him to reach a certain place with Him. Can I give you a scenario? And then I'll make the appeal with a scenario. There's a reason why you wait till marriage to have sex. Because you could be around me as long as you want to be around me, but you can never be inside of me, and I can never be inside of you until you make a commitment for the rest of your life. And you're saying, Jesus, I want this intimate relationship. I want to know what it means to be spiritual. I want to have this deep revelation. Jesus is saying, well, commit to me. Commit to me. If you will commit to me, I will open up doors. There's certain access you don't have because you're not committed to Christ. Who am I talking to? You know who you are. You need to give your life to Jesus. Not to this church. You may not believe in everything this church teaches. That's a whole other conversation. And I don't even know if I have the authority to say this, but we need to stop waiting till people believe what we believe to baptize them. Because if they're ready to give their life to Jesus, then the pool should be open for anybody who's ready to give their life to Jesus. But you take that up with your pastor. But you take that up with your pastor. I'm talking to the person, you may not know what a Sabbath is, you may love pork chops, it don't matter. You're ready to give your life to Jesus. I'm opening the door, and we'll work it out one way or another. I pray that this can be a church home, but if the pastors start tripping, if the boards start tripping, I'll give you my card, you call me, and we'll baptize you in the name of Jesus. But if that's you, you've never been baptized, but you can feel the Spirit tugging you right now. Now's the time. You feel the Spirit tugging your heart. Let me speak to somebody else. Because somebody, you've been baptized, but you've been feeling this urge to get rebaptized. And you're afraid of being embarrassed. You keep thinking about what it looks like. You've been studying on how all you have to do is take communion. But something in your spirit is like, no, I have to go back in that water. I'm telling you right now, don't grieve the Holy Spirit. If God is calling you to baptism, I'm telling you to come forward right now. Come forward right now. Come forward right now. Don't waste any time. Come forward right now. You know who you are. You're feeling the tug. I'm not going to be here long. I'm asking you to come forward now so your life can change. If that's you, please, if you're here, come forward. Come forward. I'm not going to be here long. Don't think about it. Don't look around. Just move. As the Spirit of God is moving you, come forward. If you're here, come forward. Come forward. Come forward. Come forward. My God. I'm going to talk to the next group. And that field is still open. You need to talk in private with us. But this next group is for the believer. For the believer, the one who's been baptized, you've been in church, and you've been in the church. You've been in the faith, but you feel like there's a veil over your eyes. I need you to soften up just a little bit. I want to be sure that they can hear me. It's like you feel like there should be more. You feel like you're falling short of everything that God has promised you. And you've been faithful, but it's like you thirst and hunger for more. And you're trying to find where that more is. If that's you, I'm asking you to come forward. You've been thirsting for more. It's like you've been here, but it's like I need more. If that's you, I'm asking you to come forward. I'm asking you to come forward. So what I've learned is that there are levels of blindness. I'm not going to stay here too long. But sometimes you can see a little. And God says, I've given you enough to move forward, but there's more I have to give you so you can move higher. And you've been feeling it in your spirit. Nobody's been talking about it, but you've been feeling it in your spirit like, I'm lacking. I know everything I need is in Christ, and I have Christ. So I know I don't lack, but I feel like I'm lacking. And God is saying, I'm ready to bring you higher. I'm ready to bring you higher. If that is you, I'm asking you to come forward. I see the three. Y'all can just come together right here. If that is you, I'm asking you to come forward so you can get what God wants to give you. And I want you to be prepared. Because what I learned is as you go higher, there are barriers that you have to break. And if you don't have the faith and the strength to break through it, you'll get discouraged when you hit that resistance. And you'll settle back to where you're unsatisfied. So I want to pray pray and empower you, but that's what I do. I empower you. I recognize that I can't give you sight, but I can take you to the water to wash your face. That's me. And God is saying there are some of you here, you feel it, you want to go higher. It's not an insult to anybody, it's not whatever, it's just something in you. It's like, I want to go higher, and God is saying, I'm ready to take you higher. I'm ready to take you higher. We're about to pray. Is anyone about to pray? We're about to pray. Father God in heaven, I'm so grateful. Hold on, if I could just hold hands, all you that are up front, just hold hands. Just hold hands. Father God, I'm so grateful for these who have come forward saying, God, that they want to go higher with you. Hallelujah. That they are hungry and they're thirsty and they want more of what you have to offer. God, you have blessed them. Everybody who is here, you have blessed them. You have given them so much so far, and they are grateful for where they are in you, God. They are content to know that you are their Lord and their Savior. They are satisfied in Jesus, but yet you have placed a hunger in them to go higher. God, I'm asking that you will cover them, that you will guard them, that you will protect them, God, from those voices of those who don't want to go higher. That you protect them from those spirits that will try to convince them that they're asking for too much. That you protect them, God, from those spirits that say these things will come after heaven. Lord, that you will cover them from those voices that try to convince them that they have to get perfect to go higher. But rather, in going higher, they are perfected. Hallelujah. God, I'm asking that you cover these individuals. There are people in their lives that are trying to shake their faith to cause them to doubt that there's more. But I'm so grateful, God, that even when people kick us out, you will find us where we are and ask us if we believe. So God, I'm asking for each person that is here, that you will search their heart, and that in the areas of their life where they may doubt in any shape, form, or fashion, that you would help them to see that doubt that they have, God. Help them to truly believe and to not just go through the motions, but to have an undying faith where no matter the circumstance, they know that you're a good God and that you love them. I'm asking, God, that you will open up their eyes, because I can't open their eyes, but I can lead them to the water. Open their eyes, God, that they can see the truth and not believe this lie that says this is all that they have in you. I'm so glad, God, that you have given them a heart and a hunger to want more. I'm so glad that you love them enough to grace them with the desire to go higher. So now, by the authority of Christ, bring them higher. Take them higher. Cover them from every unclean spirit in the name of Jesus. Cover them from every unclean spirit in the name of Jesus. Move them to that place that you have designed for them, that you may receive all the honor and glory. God, remove the barriers that they place on themselves. Lord, help them to not say that that's not who they are, but rather allow them to grow to become who you created them to be. Lord, I'm asking that their past and their secrets not be a hindrance to the heights that you're trying to take them, and that you will give them a holy boldness to move higher in you, that you will receive all the glory. Do this by the authority of Christ, we pray. Amen and amen. Hallelujah.